sparkle.
Strayed with him, even more swayed by him. Gave him our lives with tributes we paid to him. We stayed with him, remade with him, and even dismayed with him. This man was our God, and we went on crusade with him. He told us he did not know Jeffrey Epstein, but the emails are out. He spent time with a teen, was house guest to the most notorious fiend. Called a dog who didn't bark. Man, that's obscene. This I dare say changes a lot. Puts us all in the trickiest spot. Our dreams of a MAGA century reign just got erased by one email chain. He knew Epstein pretty damn well. He knew Epstein and we're glad they fell. Time to drop our king for the sake of the girls. We blamed with him, flamed with him, even defamed with him. His story lame, that he had been framed with him. We claim with him, play games with him, even through flames with him. How can it ever continue the same with him? He shut down the Congress to hide all the files, protected, deflected wealthy pedophiles. He upgraded Ghislaine to puppies and smiles. Disavowed his sketch, he's guilty for miles. He knew Epstein pretty damn well. He knew Epstein and we're glad they fell. He knew Epstein, the mask is cracked. The truth's out now and we can't go back.
Wow.
We prayed with him, strayed with him, even worse, swayed by him. Now maybe at last we can fade from him.
I really hate that sad loser, Mr. Newberger.
Who, me? Wow. As somebody here asked, where did you find that, Whimsy?
That is the amazing Newberger. That is the amazing Newberger. Newberger Funnies, I believe is what it's called. If you'd like to find his music, if you would like to check him out, I always have good fun. Mr. Newberger's AI Funnies. Check out Mr. Newberger's AI Funnies and tell him that Whimsy sent you over there. Great job. Always a joy to put him on the Oracle of Whimsy.
Oh, yeah.
My goodness, how you doing, Steve?
I just saw some of those lyrics. We blamed with him. We flamed with him. We defamed with him. Yeah, we defamed with him. Whoa, good. But anyway, yeah. All of this stuff in the news. You asked me how I am. I think I'm going through a lot of the mixed emotions, a lot of the shell shock that many people in this country are going through right now. There's that part of me very much wants that son of a bitch out of the White House. But at the same time, I'm also seeing how this is going to tear at the heart of America, how devastating this is likely going to be, because already these emails, right? Was it like 20,000 emails that just came to light? I mean, already what we're seeing is beyond devastating.
For those people who have just tuned in, thank you so much for being here. I'm Whimsy. This is the Oracle of Whimsy. And my co-host, the amazing Chuck Dransfield, is here. We are here to dish the dirt on the latest hot topics. Good to see you, Chuck.
Good to see
now,
you too.
Explain to everybody what is going on. Why is today such a significant day? And why is Hot Topics Thursday flaming hot?
Oh, flaming hot!
Like, what was that song? We flamed with him. Is that what it?
We blamed with him. We flamed with him, and we defamed with him. Defamation with him. I
Right.
yeah,
Okay, all right.
this may be what is finally going to wake up a lot of the MAGA people. In the past, it has seemed like nothing but nothing would do that. We've all had our experiences with such people. I shouldn't say we all, but many of us have had, where it's like trying to have a discussion with a brick wall. People back in my hometown, I just have to give up and just let them be. I there's that part of me that thinks, how can you possibly believe this stuff? How can you still side with this man? But they do.
Right.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead. No.
Well, I was just gonna say, I've even joked, and I know it's a bad joke, but I've said that Donald Trump could rape and murder a child in the middle of Times Square at 6 p.m. on live television, and his supporters would still stand beside him. It seems like nothing takes that man down. It looks like we might have found it. So sorry to interrupt you there, Whimsy.
Yeah, so go ahead and I was just going to ask if you could give a brief synopsis to our audience, what we are talking about. But before we get started, let's go ahead and turn who's with us today, Chuck? I know we are going to get right into it. We've got a couple quick announcements. I'm going to have Chuck just say hi to all of you, because we are grateful that you're here with us.
Very grateful.
It is a busy day of hot topics. We promise we're going to get to as many of your questions as we can. We'll be here till about, I think, 6:30.
Yeah.
Chuck, who's here with us today?
Well, who is here with us before we put the skillet on the flame on the stove? We have Brenda Rakestraw. We have Daniel Alexander Jensen. Our wonderful Joel Tilson, our floor director. Hey, intuitive.
He's leaving early.
Kathy. He's leaving early?
He's got appointments, yeah.
Okay, life goes on. Intuitive Kathy. Am I saying this right? Vandilan, or is it Vandilin? I'm so sorry if I'm not pronouncing that correctly. I try my best here. Tavi. We have, I'm repeating names here. Let me keep scrolling. Renee, Rockin' Pony Lady, Quantum Mama Veda.
I love the glasses he wears.
Oh, thank you.
Cute.
Am I saying the right name correctly? Quantum Mama Veda. I hope I said that right. Keep scrolling here. Anthony, Michelle, Lynn. We have Jess, we have
hey everybody,
Wendy Burt, your hat designer.
Hey, my hat designer. My hat will be on my tombstone. There's gonna be a reprep hat.
That hat's so.
I'm telling you, the hat is me.
Wendy did a beautiful job for you. Jolene is here. Sandy.
Hi, Jolene.
Hawaii bound. Ooh, wish I were.
Sounds
Hawaii
like a good
bound.
idea. I want to be Hawaii bound.
I haven't been to Hawaii in 20 years.
I've never been.
Oh, Whimsy, you gotta go. You, the nomad.
It's so expensive. I don't like to go places that are expensive and then you can't do anything because everything's too expensive.
Yeah.
I go to like cheap places where my money goes further, like Colombia next week. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, you'll have a good time, and you know how to have a good time. Danielle, Green. Oh, I like this name, Green-Eyed Tomboy.
Oh, how nice. So listen, Chuck.
Yes.
Let's go ahead and also announce to people while we're here, we have a Book of the Month Club. As many of you know, Chuck and I started a Book of the Month Club about 3 years ago. And Chucky Poo, you naughty boy, you.
Oh dear, I know. I'm so sorry. I don't know where my copy of the book is, but I do have it.
Probably in bed with him.
I left it somewhere out of camera range, but I do have the book.
All right.
I held it up the other day.
The Book of the Month, for those of you who are members of our Book of the Month, anybody can join our Book of the Month Club. It's an online Book of the Month club, and we pick a book that has been written by an independent author. If you would like to participate and have your book considered for our Book of the Month Club, send it to 1819 Southwest 5th Avenue, Suite 116, Portland, Oregon, 97201. That's care of Dr. Whimsy Anderson. We are reading the books of our audience, people that are fans of the channel. We try to promote books that have a spiritual or lessons associated with them. And we want to promote the work of those who are, independent authors. So this month is Dreams Need Feet to Walk On by Marion Haley Moss. And so if you'd like to be part of our online book club, be sure and check this out. I believe you can get it on Amazon. And many people interested in who she is. She is a character actress. She's met and worked with many famous people all over the world. And she tells her story of what it was like to work with some of the greatest actors and actresses of all time. And Chuck, I know you are our lead interviewer for the.
I'm going to love this book. I just started thumbing through it the other day, and I did have my copy to hold up the other day when we did the Tuesday show. I'm embarrassed I don't have it.
Oh, it's probably in your bed. Yeah, you're probably like me. You keep it close to the bed. I didn't know I was going to even have it here.
I know, but you and I have our little checklist before the show. Like I have to make sure I have my glasses, I have my cards, I have my pendulum. Somehow I forgot to have my book, but I'm looking forward to it.
All right. That's quite all right. So listen, Chuck, for those people who are just joining us, why don't you go ahead and tell people what the latest is and why today is such a big day? What's going on in the news right now that's got us Democrats feeling like it's Christmas a month early?
Oh my God, that's a good way of looking at it. Christmas a month early. Before the Epstein files are released, we did have yesterday some 20,000 emails were made public. Now I forget, Whimsy, what were the circumstances, how the Democrats got those released?
I don't know the whole story of how it was released. I do know that when I looked at the tarot cards, basically the impression I got from the cards was that sitting around waiting for a vote and then just assuming because we had the vote that they were going to release the names, it wasn't going to go down like that. The cards said that they would continue to try and use the courts and any means to block the truth from coming out, and that it would be dumped another way. And I believe it was the House Democrats that dumped it, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. Well, we've been getting this for quite a while, that there are too many people sitting on this information, and maybe they've even been sitting on it strategically for just the right time to let it go. And I think you and I both have gotten that it may not even have to be passed through the House and the Senate. It's just going to come out anyway. But from what I understand from these emails, I keep thinking of what Trump used to say about Hillary, her emails, you know, how he's such a gaslighter and projects things. I understand that only a portion of these emails have been made public, but there have been some people. There was someone, you sent me a video, some man who does a show on YouTube, who did go through all 20,000 of these emails. And he said there's stuff much, much worse than has been revealed. I mean, just things that are so damning to Donald Trump, things about his finances, his crooked dealings, possible collusions with Russia. I mean, much, much more than we thought, because we've been so focused on just the pedophilia charges, and also to say of what you and I have picked up on, that there are probably powerful people all over the world who are going to be brought down because of these files. We have already seen it with former Prince Andrew. What is he now? Andrew Mountbatten. Yeah, I think, I looked back in history and I cannot find an example, even in the last few hundred years, where a man who was biologically the child of a queen or a king, by birthright, a prince, and to have that stripped for him.
What about the abdication of the throne?
Well, there was the abdication
that happened in the 1930s.
Yeah, but that was done on his own free will. Supposedly for the woman that he loves. Now, I mean, that's a complex story. If you believe what they say on TV shows like The Crown, supposedly he was colluding with Hitler to help Hitler take over Britain in exchange for his being put back on the throne and Wallis being made queen. Now, I don't know if that's apocryphal or not, but there are those stories. But supposedly it was his own decision to abdicate the throne. I don't think this was Andrew's decision.
Yeah. Wow. Well, I think there's a lot of questions, Chuck. And I think that, it goes back to the remote views, that it will get to a point where he will be given a choice, either resign or he'll be physically removed. If he refuses to leave, he will be impeached and removed.
Yeah, I
That's
agree
the
with
point
you
we're
there.
headed towards.
I
That's all.
agree. You know, we have been getting for quite a while. It's going to be sometime in December before the end of the year, but
Oh,
we haven't
God,
had.
you know what? Even
Well,
though I saw it coming and you saw it, like
mhm.
a lot of psychics felt this energy. Some
Yeah.
of us, most of the readers agreed on this, right?
Yes.
Now that we're here, it's kind of scary.
It is. It's very unnerving. I mean, it's like I said at the top of the show. There's something heartbreaking about it, just the same. You know, very deeply unsettling, deeply disturbing. And I just know for myself, and maybe this is the part of me that's a little naive and overly optimistic, just to know our president is truly that evil, truly that bad of a human being. He truly does not give a damn about any of us. You know, that's still disturbing. Oh, wait, Holly just said, I don't think Trump will leave on his own.
Well, then this is what he threatened when Biden won, that he was not going to leave on his own. And, he left. He left because if he hadn't left, he would have been physically drug out of there.
Physically drug out. Yeah. Can you imagine that being covered on live television? You know, the president being forcibly dragged out of the White House?
This is why this type of you have to have an elder statesman go and have a conversation with Donald Trump.
Mm-hmm.
And, you put yourself in the remote. We talked about Lindsey Graham most likely being the person. It has to be somebody who had a relatively good relationship with him.
Yes.
And is not on his cabinet and has nothing to win by seeing Trump leave.
Yeah.
It could never be J.D. Vance.
Yeah. Well, the readings that I have had personally is that, like you've agreed to this to a degree, that it is going to be his health. That's going to be a dignified way for him to leave. And I said, I've been getting these images of medical reports starting to be doled out a little more frequently, where it's just going to pave the way for his rapidly deteriorating health. And then he'll announce, I regretfully have to resign the office due to my health, or something like that. That will be his excuse. But he's going to have no choice. It's really feeling like this is the beginning of the end. It really feels like it now.
Right, because you can drop the articles of impeachment relatively quickly and vote on it relatively quickly if you have a 60-person majority. And in a very short amount of time, they will. In answer to that question.
I know. I mean, we have to remember he's been twice impeached before, but it just never went the full way. I know. It's never gone to this level. I mean, I'm still astounded. Here's a man impeached twice, a resurrection against the government, and 34 felony convictions amongst a multitude of other things, and he still gets elected president again.
And I think that people think that the articles of impeachment is some big, complicated thing that takes years. No, it can be drawn up in one day, one afternoon.
It was probably designed by the founding fathers for the event of an emergency, where if the president had to be removed quickly, it could be done.
Yeah, but you also look at Article 25. So that if they, if they don't get him out on impeachment, that's the thing. If he refuses to listen to his cabinet, or his cabinet is having problems with Article 25, or doesn't want to issue Article 25, then that would explain why in the vision it fell on the Senate to draw up these emergency impeachment and say, you're out of here.
Yeah.
This is going to go down fast.
Oh, yeah. Well, I think we're already seeing a lot of Republicans jumping ship. Trump is looked upon as a lame duck now. He's looked upon as a liability. They're looking at their own reelection in the midterms, which right now looks very dismal for the Republicans. So they're trying to salvage anything that they can. It's just like with the release of the Epstein files. It's theorized by some that there could be as many as 100 Republicans joining the Democrats in the House. And then, of course, it has to go to the Senate. But it's also theorized if that many people do it in the House, they're not going to have any problem getting them in the Senate as well. So, the Republicans, I think, are turning on Trump finally. They're standing up to him.
I don't even know if they need Congress if they have 60 seats. And I think that they can literally drag him out of there pretty quickly.
I
I
would
think
hope so.
ultimately impeachment falls on the Senate.
Yeah. Oh, it does fall upon the Senate.
I
Then,
think that if they
yeah.
have a 60 vote majority, they can draw it up, vote impeachment, vote remove. Boom, you're out. I think
Really?
it can happen pretty damn fast.
I thought it had to be 2/3 for an impeachment, but I
Oh,
could be wrong.
2/3. So it wouldn't be, isn't 60 2/3? Well, 50. What's 2/3 of 50?
Oh, wait a minute. That's right, because
I don't know.
well, there are 100 senators, right?
There's
2 for
100.
each state. Yeah.
2/3 would be 62. Is that something like that?
Something. Math was always my worst subject.
2/3. Yes. So
Yeah.
2/3 of 100 would be 33, and 33 would be 66. 66, 67. They can get it though.
I think they can get it. Funny how you said 33 and a third. I immediately thought of an LP record. You said that. But yeah, that's not much more than 60. You were right when you said that.
Yeah. Well, let's go ahead. We'll do the impasse prayer, and let's do a blitz. Sound good? And if anyone would like to receive a healing at this time, go ahead and give Chuck and me your name or the name of the person you want us to pray for, and we can include you in our prayers. Where's the kitty cat? I didn't see the kitty cat today.
Kitty cat, Sasha is somewhere over at the other end of the room sleeping right now. Maybe she'll wake up and come over.
Antisocial.
And yes, she's like, I don't want to be on camera today. I want to be alone.
Cats are fickle. Sometimes they want to be famous. Sometimes they don't.
Where's Mila?
Well, same thing. Out like a light. She had her kibble and went to sleep.
I can be like that too.
Okay. All right. I want to call on white light protection for myself and this community as we ask permission from Spirit to access the Akashic records. We call on our spirit guides and our good angels to be with us. Please give us the clarity and the wisdom that is needed to empower all of us on our journeys to make the best decisions for ourselves, our families, the planet, the people we love, but also to help those that we may have strife with. And together collectively, we say, Amen. And for those of you today who are requesting a healing, we come together as a community and we pray. We pray that you and those you love receive a perfect healing in mind, body, and in spirit. And together again, we say, Amen, amen, amen. Amen. May all souls be healed. Thanks for being here, everyone. Thank you so much. And thank you for your prayers for those here. All right. What are you thinking about Prince Andrew?
Oh, I have wondered about that, but I've also wondered if King Charles required him to sign non-disclosure agreements. But then I also wonder, could those even be enforced if he did? Because I wondered that myself. I mean, if Harry could write a book, certainly Prince Andrew could write a book, and I have a feeling he needs cash right now, and he could probably get many millions.
I heard he was rich. I heard that he was rich, Prince Andrew.
I'm not sure what the story is. I see conflicting things, but I'm sure he's not above making more money, and I bet you he could get an advance of millions of dollars or pounds if he did want to write a book. It would be very thought over.
Do you think he would write a book to talk about what he did? Nobody wants to read such a book.
Oh, I think there are a lot of people who want to read a book like that. Unfortunately,
I don't think he would write a book. Do you? Don't you think he's going to be like crawling in? I think he would consider it beneath him. Why should commoners know his private business? This is a man who believes in divine right of kings. He truly believed it was his right to take the damsel and do what he pleased because he was royalty. Right. He's not going to sit there and write a book of confession that the peasants read. And that's not his mindset.
Only thing I can think of is maybe he looks at it as a way to tell his side of the story, to rehabilitate his image a little. Maybe. I'm just throwing that out. But what you say is very valid.
I'm just feeling as Prince Andrew like that. It would be so beneath me to have to explain anything to the peasants.
Well, I mean,
I do what I like. I'm the damn prince, or I was formerly known as Prince.
Yeah. Because the other side of that is he has been so disgraced. He's been so humiliated, deservedly so, but he has been. And maybe he just wants to lay low and
so glad this is coming
lick his wounds for a while. But yeah, I'm not trying to justify anything here. Please know that. I think what he did was deplorable.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, let's go ahead and look at his
Will Prince,
cards.
well, I
Yeah.
just want to ask this first. Will Prince Andrew write a book about his experience? Well, I'm getting a no.
Oh, you are? Oh.
But well, for now. But you see, I'm reading the energy for right now. That could shift.
Right,
I was
right.
thinking what Heather Cox Richardson said about trying to report on all the news happenings right now. She said it's like chasing after a speeding bullet. It's so it could be a different answer tomorrow. But I just got that. I haven't pulled cards yet, so let me see.
Wow. So what I get on Prince Andrew, the first card is the Two of Swords, a refusal to explain himself, hear no evil, see no evil, speak no evil. So he is not going to discuss these things with anyone.
Mm-hmm.
As for those people who came up against him, like Virginia Guilfoyle, they are seen as people who were betrayed by those others.
Mm-hmm.
For example, beaten by her husband. She was betrayed by the people closest to her. So this is his enemies, like Guilfoyle. Virginia Giuffre, excuse me. This is like Virginia Giuffre. His enemies are, and I can't help but feel as him relieved that she is gone. Thank God Virginia Giuffre is dead. That is how I feel as him, because she now she can't talk anymore. I'm only thinking in terms of my needs, what's best for me, and she is dead, and that is thank God she's dead. I feel this. My foolish behavior in terms of questions on his finances, he is going to start having money problems because there were a certain amount of passive incomes or certain streams of income that maybe he was entitled to because of his position that has been cut, because he has a Four of Pentacles, frugality and poverty in his future.
Well,
he's not going to talk, though, in answer to that person's question with the Two of Swords.
Yeah, because I got a strong no on that.
Okay.
As far as cards go, I mean, first of all, I acknowledge some of this is the obvious. Shame. You know how I said the other day, I get this card a lot, exhaustion, because it seems like people everywhere are just exhausted. They're beaten over the head by all this. It's so much. I get that there's a lot of competition right now, people wanting his story and dangling offers. But look what this last card was. Family. The royal family. He's looking out for the royal family. He's disgraced himself so much. He doesn't want to bring further shame on the family. I think that's what that card is saying.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Chuck, I think also it's much harder to get away with bad things today than, say, when Nixon was around or something.
Oh, yes.
Because everybody has a camera. Everybody has a phone, don't you think?
I know. Everybody has not only a camera, they have a video camera, and they have a way of going on live, being like a reporter on the spot, on the scene. And almost all of us carry a little thing in our pockets now that allow that. Certainly that was not around in the 70s with Richard Nixon's era.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously,
And yet they stole the White House tapes. That's the kind of thing that with the new technology, I don't know if you would have even been able to have pulled something like that off.
Exactly. Remember that ridiculous story about the missing 18 and a half minutes? And I think it was I still remember the name, Rosemary Woods. Still in my head from when I was a kid.
Right.
Nixon's secretary. I'm so sorry. I must have hit the wrong button or something when I was typing up the transcripts. I'm truly sorry. Yes, it just happened to be like the most important 18 and a half minutes on all the tapes. It was absurd. Nixon tried to pass that story along. Nobody was buying it.
Right.
Yeah. Have you ever listened to the Nixon tapes? I have. I've been to
Parts
Yorba.
of them, yes. People were obsessed with them in the late 70s. The mid to late 70s, we were completely obsessed.
Yeah, I've been to Yorba Linda to the Richard Nixon Presidential Library two or three times. And I'm a history buff. I love it all. And it is a fascinating story about Richard Nixon, no matter how you feel about him. And I don't know if this is still true, but at the time you could put on headphones and set a great length and listen to the tapes.
And you, of course, did a channeled reading. And
I knew we were heading in that direction. Yes.
Listen, did you know Nixon was the one that was going to want to make contact?
Well,
because when I do remote viewing, I sometimes have no idea who I'm going to be talking to. I spoke to somebody last night that was deceased, Oh yeah, Reba McEntire. Was that Reba McEntire's mom? Who's Reba McEntire's mom?
I don't know.
The woman
Reba.
who committed suicide. Not
uh,
Reba McEntire. God, it's what's her name's mother. She took her own life.
Oh wait, are you thinking of Naomi Judd?
Naomi Judd.
Yeah. Oh, that was such a sad story.
She talked to me for like half an hour last night.
Really? Really?
She said she had a completely different attitude, Naomi Judd. She's like, why y'all thinking this is so tragic and horrible? I took control of my life. I knew my life was over. It was a really interesting conversation.
Well,
she said, I knew my life was over and it was going to end on my terms. And I said, what was the point at which you knew your life was over? She said, the way others looked at me, that others were looking at her with pity. And she was beautiful. She had power and she could sing, and men were just like, that look that men gave her. And now, I don't know if she was married and she was talking about her husband, but it was pity and, oh, poor, pitiful you. And it was that look that she couldn't bear that ultimately she was like, it's the end of the road for me. And she didn't feel sad about it. She felt like, I had a great life. I have beautiful children. I lived life on my terms, but I knew objectively it's the end of the road for me. I can continue to be a burden to my family, or I can take myself out. And so it was a really interesting conversation with her. But I had no idea she was going to show up in my trance state.
Yeah. Well, I actually I don't want to get off topic, but I do have a little story along those lines. Years ago, when Robin Williams committed suicide, I managed to connect with him about a week or two later. And I have a very dear friend in Canada who also channels Robin Williams. We compared our notes and we got the same message. How's that for a checks and balance? But what I got from him, now, folks, I acknowledge this is controversial talking about suicide. I'm just saying what he said to me. He said, you have to understand, I couldn't bear to be in that body anymore because he was very sick. Didn't he have the beginnings of Lewy body dementia?
Yes.
He was falling apart. He was trapped. And the image I got, he was showing me of a ping pong ball going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, all this high energy. And he said, that's my soul. It was a prison to be in that body. It was hell. I had to get out, and I had to do it on my own terms. And this is what he said to me. He said, one size does not fit all. Everybody has their own story. They have their own circumstances for doing what they did or do. And he said, please respect me for my decision. That's the message I got from Robin Williams.
Yeah, and that was kind of what I got from Naomi Judd. I was just that it's the end of the road for me. And she was laying in her bed thinking, well, what's the future for me? I'm going to get sicker and sicker and sicker. And then her partner, there was this man there, I don't know if that was her partner, is just looking at her like, oh, she's so pathetic. Oh my God, I don't know what to do. Oh, it's so depressing. I can't. She's just in her bed all day long and it's so depressing. And seeing how pitiful she was. And she was like, it was just, for her, it was considered lucky or good because we will all die. We are all going to die. But she had control over her death, and not everybody does. And that's another way of looking at it.
Yeah, it is. So you put it that way from Naomi Judd. I got that from Robin Williams, that it was actually empowerment. It was an empowered, conscious decision. And again, I know this is controversial, folks. We just received the messages, but that's so interesting. You spoke with her.
That was how she felt. That was how she felt.
Yeah. But you were asking me the question. That's why I said, I'm sorry for sidetracking here, but no, I usually am very specific when I ask for someone to come to me. And this was one that I didn't know I was capable of doing or not, because I'd never tried to contact him before, and we had mentioned, I think we said the other day on the show, wouldn't it be great to hear what Richard Nixon would have to say about this? And I talked with you after the show and I said, I'll give it a shot. I just don't know what's going to happen. And I sat down last night, as I do with my pen and my paper, and, I just get myself very centered. I don't go in trances or anything like that. I just listen from the heart, and I start getting words and I start writing them down. And to my amazement, they start making sense. I get complete sentences. The personality of the person comes through. And I will say this, there were a few times there were words that I thought, does this really fit? Is this a grammatically correct word? And I looked them up on my phone, and sure enough, it was the perfect word. So I knew it wasn't me. It was Nixon talking. These were the words he wanted to use. This is what he wanted to convey. And as we have said before, we're sometimes like the secretary. We're just receiving the dictation. So this is not necessarily our own opinions. This is just what he wanted to say. And maybe even Richard Nixon wants to rehabilitate his image a little bit. But I was getting a man very remorseful and has a lot more conscience than Donald Trump ever will. And he even spoke of that. And I also got that at the heart of things, Richard Nixon did love his country and he did care about the people, even though I know it doesn't look that way. He's, there's no surprise to anyone. He's still one of our most controversial presidents ever and always will be. And he addressed that.
God, he's gone so far to the right that he's actually a liberal. He wanted health care for all and all these things, that affordable housing. Now you're the worst person in the world if you want affordable housing and health care. We've sunk so low. Nixon
even endorsed Bill Clinton near the end of his life. The great Republican president endorsed Bill Clinton, and actually denounced, was the first George Bush, said, well, if he can't do his job better than this, he should leave. Nixon spoke his mind. As he once said in an interview, I don't have anything to lose anymore. What have I got to lose? And he was right. But something else, I'm going to read the message in just a moment here. But one of the other things was he acknowledges, the stain on him, everything that's said. But he also gets frustrated with everybody just automatically using him as a scapegoat for the quote unquote worst president of all time. And he's saying, why don't you look at my whole record? Don't be that shallow. Don't just pass judgment on me like that. But anyway, I'm going to read the message. Anything else you want to say, Whimsy, before I dive into this?
No, I'm excited to hear.
Let me take a sip of water here. Figure I better do that. But yeah, he came to me last night. And, sometimes I even doubt myself. I'm always concerned that it's my imagination. I've said that. I think most people who channel worry about this. So we do our own checks and balances. We check with others. What I did, I purposely sat this aside and did not read it again until about 2:00 this afternoon. And it just hit me. I mean, I was getting emotional while I was reading it. And I thought, no, I didn't write this. This was channeled. But, that's an interesting observation there. Nixon believed he was acting morally. Yeah, he believed that. And Trump is completely amoral at best. Yeah, well, he alludes to that. So I'm going to get into it now. Okay. I spent the majority of my final years striving to rehabilitate and salvage the tattered remains of the presidential legacy that I was going to leave behind. I had the conscious awareness and enough kernels of common sense to know that it would be speaking on my behalf for the remainder of time. In my lifetime, I never knew a politician who did not care greatly about how the history books would ultimately document them in the end. One of the strongest checks and balances a politician could ever have was the constant awareness of how they would be conveyed in the future history books. What takes place now mystifies me first and foremost for this very reason. People like Mike Johnson, Mitch McConnell, scores of men and women in Congress, and especially your current president, are going to have disgraceful shit, that's the word he used, disgraceful shit in place of any semblance of a respectable legacy. Frankly, they are heading on a collision course for precisely what they deserve. It will likely be honest and exhibit far more unvarnished honesty than what any of these people displayed during their tenure in public office. Yes, of course, I am highly aware of how vilified I was and how much I continue to be. For 5 decades, I made the bottom of lists of the worst presidents of all time. In my opinion, I was an easy target, and used as a lazy way out for anyone who did not want to really think and examine the gravitas of my full legacy. A stain I will always carry. I accept and own that. However, there are predecessors and successors to my higher office where presidents committed far more heinous acts than what I did, who simply never got caught. Right now, you have a president who is openly and flagrantly committing these heinous acts in full broad daylight. Oddly enough, this makes him a far more transparent president than any of his predecessors. He is all too predictable in his patterns. This also contributes to reasons he is the most dangerous of presidents. Let's be clear. I held infinitely more respect for the office and the people I served than this buffoon ever could be capable of. Decades earlier, I met Donald Trump and was impressed for a time with the initiative and drive I saw. Even a sense of cold, detached ruthlessness that I frankly believe is essential for anyone in charge in a situation of higher office and can serve well in a time of crisis when a cold-blooded strategic decision must be reached for the higher good and outcome of a given situation. I even told him that I felt he could one day be highly suited to be president. Well, the Donald Trump of today is not the same man, not by a long shot. He is a perfect disgrace. And he said, and you're hearing that from me. There's a little humor there. It was said that I disgraced and tore this country apart. That is the popular legend. But we had too many disciplined people in place within our government to ever truly allow that to happen. People who put country loyalty first over allegiance to their political party. America picked up the pieces and moved on. At the moment, there is an insane complicity in the branches of the American government that is disintegrating it from the inside out. If something is not done soon, your country and your democracy is going to implode upon itself. Much of what you had even 1 year ago will never be recovered. All you can hope for is an opportunity will come for renewal and rebuilding, but it will never be the same. It is hard to watch this, especially for someone such as myself who had an intimate and personal involvement with this very government. People to this day will doubt me, but I did have a true love and passion for American government. I made egregious mistakes for which I was caught and for which I regret, but my mind and heart was always with the American way. I wish I could have taken different avenues and choices. I continually apologized after I left office, and I'm doing it even right now. I hated the shame that I brought to my wife, my daughters, my family, and ultimately to myself. I wondered what kind of legacy I was going to have. I anguished over how it would seemingly forever eclipse my positive accomplishments. There was no punishment worse than that. A month after leaving the presidency, my grief was so stupendous that I nearly died. And I looked it up. That's true. He had a pulmonary embolism 1 month
Wow.
he left office. He almost died. So that's what he's referring to. A large part of me wanted to die. It was because I cared and I held the conscience-bound shame that I had let down so very many people. What I see in men such as Donald Trump is that he apparently does not care. That is a concept that is foreign, and it mystifies me. When you no longer have the restraints, the checks and balances of how you will be remembered by history or how you have affected others, what do you really have left? What is there remaining that you can throw against such a person in your own self-defense? Trump is like a kamikaze pilot willing to slam himself into the side of a ship and go up in a burst of flames, whether he consciously knows that or not. I would never grant him the benefit of a doubt that he would ever do something like that out of sense of duty and honor. Those words are foreign to Donald Trump. Stopping a person like that is far more challenging. This egomaniac is under the self-delusion of invincibility. My dear people, no one has invincibility. Certainly not on his self-perceived levels, which the heavens will never support. It certainly would not support me. The subsequent implosion took place more within myself. That is because I took and accepted accountability. I swallowed my bitter guilt. I had a conscience. Donald Trump and many of his people apparently do not. My resignation was about saving the presidency and our democracy. I went against everything that was within me, but I had the grace to leave the stage. I understand the extreme paranoia and state of panic this man is currently enduring. It is not out of conscience or regret. It is because he knows he's lost the cause. He is in his final days, just as I was. The presidency is an exclusive club that very few have or will ever experience. The approaching thunderstorm is ominous and daunting. I actually feared riots of people encroaching upon the White House to demand my swift removal. There were many who wanted my head. For all of Donald Trump's bravado and delusional ego, this is where he is right now. And if he does not cooperate, it will not end well for him or our country. So that's the message I got.
Wow.
What do you think, Whimsy? I just got it as I received it.
You know, it's interesting that he still has elements. My feeling of listening to Nixon is that he's still in death.
Mm-hmm.
There is an aspect of this person that holds on to some narcissism where he sees himself as the victim, and you're picking on me and I wasn't that bad. And look at what this guy did. And what about him? What aboutism? There's still, he's sorry, but there's also this, come on, I'm sorry, but come on, how bad was it?
Yeah. Well, you know,
you stole the presidency from somebody else, theoretically. If what you did theoretically impacted the election, then that's pretty horrific. And this and this is not the first time that Republicans have attempted to steal the elections.
Sure. Well, you know, I have said that when I do this channeling, one of the things that surprised me is the personality of the person is still very much intact, even on the other side. So it's interesting you just brought that up. Yes, the narcissism is still there, the denial, but yet that belief that he was in the right somehow. He acknowledges he did wrong, but hey, I wasn't as bad as you're all saying I was. That kind of thing. That's why I even said at the beginning of this, I felt like there was a little bit of image rehabilitation.
Right. Yeah, he's still holding off. Yeah, he's still holding on, winning. Well, let's get to some of these questions here. Thank you, by the way, Chuck. That was awesome. Thank you. Though a little bit disturbing.
I do my heartfelt best with these.
And
and as I say, I'm very humble about it. I don't take credit for it. I'm just the receiver.
Well, you know, we are. How much more right can we go? I mean, we've gone so far right. Do you think that Andrew will be haunted by Virginia Giuffre? Do you think that there's any remorse there, or is it outside of his capacity, given that he believes it's his divine right as a member of royalty?
That's a good question, Whimsy. It's multifaceted. It's complicated because it could be his lifelong ego as a member of the royal family and his entitlement. Maybe that's just so deeply ingrained to him. But as far as her you mean literally haunting him, or do you mean that more figuratively, or both in the sense of the word?
No, I mean like both. I mean, like, if nothing else, than his conscience. I mean, God.
He certainly is going to have a lot of time to think and ponder what he has done. You know, his public life days are over. In fact, what is he going to do other than live off of his money?
Yeah. What'd you think about Trump? Everybody's running from the questions. Trump is running from the questions. What do you think about that?
Well, that's certainly no surprise. I mean, my God. And do you listen to Caroline Levitt? She's his mouthpiece, but the things she says in his defense, well, I think the emails just prove that he's not in the wrong. It was something absurd that she had the audacity to say.
All right, let's check to see if the emails will be released soon.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for being here, everyone. If you could like, share, and subscribe, we'd
Well,
really
I think the question specifically is, will the Epstein vote happen soon?
Yeah.
But do you mean the Epstein files or the Epstein vote?
The vote. Well, the vote happens soon. And then maybe if we can figure out what the consequences are going to be.
Well, the vote's going to happen soon. I got a no-brainer yes on that one with the pendulum, but cards here. Well, I mean, I do think that's going to happen. There is going to be the vote. That's for certain. And that's why I was asking you the question now, because it could be the release of the files themselves, if you have gotten in your readings, could be convoluted and could take a while. But so the cards are, I don't know if we're revealing that much, other than there's a huge amount of shame. It's like, no shit. There's going to be a lot of loss taking place. Certainly from Trump, a lot of denial. That's why I say these are obvious cards. But it's about everybody sticking to their priorities, which is going to lead to new beginnings. That's what I have. What do you have?
How can he continue to say fake news, fake news, fake news? Doesn't even make sense.
It's so
denial. Look at this. The power is with the Democrats. We're going to ride the wave, right?
You got denial?
Yeah, and then power with his opposition, fighting. And look at this. Then the legal battle. I'm telling you, there's going to be a legal battle to keep this from being released, to go against the will of Congress.
Oh, I think he's going to pull out every last remaining stop he's got. This is desperation. Certainly what I saw just a little bit on the emails. It's bad. And let's see, Congresswoman Grijalda, I think she was sworn in yesterday, wasn't she? She was sworn in yesterday. She gave a beautiful speech. I don't know if you heard it. And I mean, she really condemned Mike Johnson and the Republicans from stopping her from doing her job. And she said how shameful it is that my constituents went weeks without with representation. I thought, good for you. I'm glad she just said it.
Right. Chuck, we have a new member. Heidi Christensen is in the house. So we got to sing a song for Miss Heidi. Grab my other hat here. Heidi Christensen. Heidi Christensen. We welcome you. We welcome you to the Oracle of Wimpy. Thanks for being here, Heidi. Thank you. We got another member. Woohoo! Keep them coming. Keep them coming.
Thank you very much.
Keeps us off the streets. Keeps us.
I got to say, Whimsy, with the blazer, the scarf, the hat, you got a real Diane Keaton thing going on right now.
I got a Diane Keaton thing going on.
Thank you, buddy. Well, I mean, Diane Keaton had beautiful taste, beautiful style, and it works on you very well.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah. Well, we welcome Heidi, and of course, we're grateful to everybody who can become a member. It definitely
we appreciate it tremendously.
It's appreciated.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think it's going to take years, Chuck?
Oh yes. Pete Buttigieg said not too long ago he thinks it's going to be at least 2 generations to fix this. I don't know. Do you have an opinion?
The entire world seems to be going right. You know, I just look at what's happening to Israel, and I think that there's this massive force to turn it into they're turning into Saudi Arabia over in Israel. Like, it's just become this religious place, and just it's kind of delusional, really. Like when religion takes hold, And what's scary is that when you combine that, it's this right wing, the right wing using religion as if they are Christian soldiers fighting for truth and justice, and that if you join this party, it's because you're a good Christian. And it's really scary because it's a type of politics that I don't think we've ever seen anything like this before.
Well, look at what's going on right now in our country, this attempt to put through Project 2025, which basically is a Christian nationalist platform. They're trying to force that down our throats right now.
Yeah, and I think their feeling is that there's this war going on between Muslim extremists, and now there have to be Christian extremists as a reaction to that. And it's just really kind of scary to watch that.
You know, it
Yeah,
seems
go ahead.
like, I don't know, and forgive me if this is a controversial comment to be making, but it just seems like a lot of Christians want to force their ways on others. I think of the Christians going into African nations, the missionaries, trying to Christianize the Indians at the Indian tribe. What's the word for it?
The missionary religion.
Yeah, missionary. But it's just like they want to force their ways on us to the point of bullying us with it. And forgive me if that, because I don't want to impugn the Christian religion or people who are genuine Christians.
Right.
I don't want to impugn you at all. But I'm just seeing a lot of that. But this comment from Joel Tilson, has Trump's Teflon finally gone? You know, I immediately have the image. I'm sure you've seen this, Wednesday, where you've had an old frying pan or something where you have scraped it so much that all the Teflon is peeling off.
Really
and where it's probably disgusting and dangerous to be even using that pan anymore because you're probably ingesting Teflon. I immediately got that image. Yeah, I think that's where Trump is right now.
Let's look at
scraped up pan.
Let's look at Trump's future over the next couple weeks. What does Trump's cards look like?
Okay, sorry. I just the thought of that. I'm sorry. I know it's inappropriate to laugh at things like that. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry.
All right. So Trump's magic gone? Is this? I don't see how you can come back, but from this, but I mean, I think he is so finished. I mean, I'm yeah.
Oh, some of these cards are just too obvious, but I'm pulling them anyway. Just letting them fall out.
They're going to use the health excuse. Archangel Raphael moving into 7th position, a judgment against Trump.
Yeah.
Meditation. But listen to this: hanging up the presidency. Talk about an embarrassing way to have to leave the presidency.
Yes, that's why he's trying to use his health as any kind of graceful way of stepping out. I don't think he has it. I didn't want to interrupt you while you're.
That was it.
Well, okay. Well, I mean, I have stuff here that is just so ridiculously obvious, but yeah, loss, shame, shadow, despair, denial. He's still in denial about this. And a lot of that's tied into his self-esteem, which is tied into his massive overinflated ego, denial around that. But competition, tug of war all around him. But ultimately, he's fighting for his survival. And my last card was physical body. So I think that means definitely health. That's going to be his excuse he's going to use. But I'm getting also from this, there is legitimacy to this. He genuinely, his health is failing. His mind is failing. You know,
I agree.
Resigned, even if there wasn't a scandal. But it's all collapsed in together.
Yeah, I agree. So a lot of people feel that Kavanaugh could be stepping down, that the FBI, this is what I mean, that the FBI not only covered up for Epstein, but that the FBI may have also covered up for Kavanaugh. They didn't do a legitimate investigation. They knew condescending, gaslighting. Oh, you stupid little women. You don't know what happened. And then the guy, nobody's protecting us, certainly not the FBI. I think we should throw 4 cards on the future of Kavanaugh.
Okay. Future of Kavanaugh. Woo. Kavanaugh. Sheriff Kavanaugh. Kavanaugh. Sometimes I feel bad because I get a lot of same cards here, but it just applies. But what intrigued me, because who we're talking about, scales of justice, balance, judgment, but somebody with a lot of shame fighting for their very survival. As priorities move forward, a lot of truth is going to come out. And then my last card was loss. I'd be curious to see how this ties in with what you received.
He's just a very ugly, dark person, you know.
Yeah.
This is Kavanaugh, but he hurt so many people. Look at his opposition. I mean, this guy has he has betrayed so many people. My feeling as Kavanaugh, as an HCRV practitioner, when I sit as Kavanaugh, whatever I did when I was a drunken kid, whether it was in high school or college, it was so long ago, it doesn't matter anymore. I'm an adult now. I'm on the Supreme Court. Who the hell cares? It was 30 years ago, 20, 30 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like people need to move on. Maybe I did something stupid or crazy 30 years ago, 20 years ago, but in the end, it doesn't matter. Yeah. There is this kind of betrayal and harming. This guy will even stab in the back anybody that used to be his friend if that person questions his power, you know, Kavanaugh. So the other thing is, I always get that he drinks. I like beer. You know, he's got that he's got that lunacy card that, you know, it's not just that he has harmed people that trusted him, but I question whether he might be crazy, you know, like a violent sex offender or crazy, because to have your ninth house, your hope and fear, be lunacy. Mm-hmm. And also his, his final outcome is the Two of Swords. So that would indicate that the swords of justice are like, hear no evil, see no evil. This guy's off his rockers. I think they put somebody in there that's a little bit off his rockers.
Intriguing.
Crazy.
Intriguing. No, it's sometimes the cards surprise me when I got scales of justice, like the courts, judgment, you know, like it was saying this is applying to him. We know, you know, I keep thinking of Trump saying we need to drain the swamp. Yeah, right. We need to drain the swamp big time. There is just so much filth and corruption. I mean, Whimsy, don't you just feel the like yuck, like you want to go take a bath or a shower?
Yeah, I mean, so there are some really dark people out there. So evidently it was Epstein's estate that released the files. That, you know, that leaves me with all kinds of questions. Why would Epstein's estate have dropped the files now?
Well, you know, remember I said earlier in the show, I had been getting these hits that there are a lot of people who have this information, but they were waiting for the right strategic time, you know, to drop the shoe. Now, I don't know why they would choose right now instead of earlier, but that's what it feels like to me. What was this? The Epstein family released those emails. What they want released is the FBI and Department of Justice files.
I think
that is what they're voting on next week.
Put yourself in the FBI shoes. That is how I feel when I become the FBI, as you know, doing HCRV. We have all kinds of horrible people in that are informants at the FBI. People that swore against Gotti, that got Gotti in prison, right? These were bad people. These were people that killed people. These were people that did all kinds of awful things. And the purpose of the witness protection program and these types of programs where we hide the names of our informants, if we start releasing those names, no one is going to come and talk to the FBI. And sometimes we make deals with terrible people. So we will do everything in our power to make sure that we continue to protect the names of our informants. And every guy who got a sweetheart deal was an informant and got basically the equivalent of witness protection. And so you're going to have a hell of a fight on your hands if you want the FBI to cooperate with betraying their informants, because this is something they simply are not going to do with the FBI. If we betray this informant, then what are we going to say to the rest of the informants? That we are a fair weather friend, that, yeah, you can trust us. The FBI, we're not going to prosecute if you cooperate in this investigation, but we're going to turn around and let everybody know your address and what you did. So it puts the FBI in a really complicated situation. So for that reason, all the House can do is request it, but I don't think we're going to get cooperation.
Yeah, I mean, this could just blow apart the FBI like we're seeing many other aspects of our government being blown apart right now.
Let's take a look. Let's see what the DOJ and the FBI is going to do once they vote to release the files.
Many years ago, I read a biography of J. Edgar Hoover. You know, this sort of thing has been going on for many decades, going back to the 1930s.
Nope. The response from the FBI is it goes against policy of the FBI to release the names of our informants. The answer is no. First house is Two of Swords. You can ask, you can bark, but it's never going to happen. Two of Swords and bury the lead. Four of Swords. Hopes and fears. Look at this, defending, running like a thief. It ain't happening. We're going to have to get the information another way.
Yeah.
This is a waste of our time.
Yeah, it's kind of getting that. Well, you know, first of all, I had shadow and shame. That's an obvious. But this is more about their very survival. You know, do whatever you do to survive. They're going to employ deceit or whatever tricks they have to do because they have higher priorities. And when I finally got in this solitude card, which was one of the last, I thought, no, what is this saying? Well, solitude means keeping to yourself.
Right.
Hold it, you know, like holding your cards to yourself, so to speak, in solitude. And I feel that ties in with what you were saying. They're going to look out for themselves.
Impeachment. Do you think it's going to take forever? I don't, but Contessa feels that impeachment could be a slow process. I think articles of impeachment can be drawn up in a day.
Like I said earlier, I'm sure the founding fathers thought of this beforehand. It was like an escape hatch. If we have to remove a bad president quickly, it can be done.
Yeah, and I think anyone in Congress can draw it up, right? Anyone can bring it forth, Senate or the House.
I believe.
Let's take a look. Let's take a look at the articles of impeachment that are probably going to be drawn up.
Okay, now what are we asking specifically?
How long will it take for the I know there's going to be articles of impeachment drawn. Come on, anyone with half a brain can see where this is headed. Okay. How long is it going to take for the articles of impeachment to reach? How long is it going to take before they start pushing for articles of impeachment? And how long is it going to take to impeach him?
I don't know if my cards are going to give an answer like that. Okay. We may have to depend on yours because you're better at determining time frames. Yeah, but I'm just going to see what comes up, if anything. Let me just start shuffling these. I don't know if I have anything that's really giving a good answer. I see. Will there be articles of impeachment? Yes. Will that happen soon? Will it be the equivalence of articles of impeachment? Will it be articles of impeachment? Okay, I wasn't, like, I knew up front these cards aren't going to really give the right answer, so I just asked questions like, will there be impeachment? I got yes. I said, or could it be the equivalence of an impeachment? I got a yes on that also. But it's more or less indicating he is going to be removed one way or the other. That's more of what I'm getting. what's being revealed to me. And I'm sure you have something much more specific.
It just keeps saying we have the votes. We're going to be able to get the votes, and
Yeah,
we
it
give
feels
you the,
inevitable.
and we give you the honor of. Don't put us in this situation, Mr. President.
Mm-hmm.
Duty has fallen on me, but don't
Yeah.
put me in this situation because nobody down there wants to talk to you or be associated with you, Mr. President, because you are a pariah.
Mm-hmm.
You got the mark of Cain on you, boy. I mean, that's how it feels. Nobody down there in the Senate wants to even talk to you. They're running scared in the Senate and the House trying to get reelected.
Mm-hmm.
I do not envy the people that are going to have to talk with him. I'm assuming it's Lindsay, but boy, look at this.
Yeah.
Look at this. It is over. End of the road, man.
Mm-hmm.
Look at
That's
this.
what I get more than
Door
anything.
closed. But look at this honor of resigning. This guy needs to take the honor. Look, it's dignified. Just fake it and say it had to do with his health and have him give some fake speech. It wouldn't be fair to the country and blah, blah, blah. Do some kind of Nixon speech. They'll never write a book about my mother and just go. Even though I think they did write a book about his mother.
I remember that speech. I was a kid, but I still remember watching his resignation on television that night. And I remember that speech he gave in the White House the next day. And that line about my father was just a poor orange grove farmer in Yorba Linda. There will never be a book written about my mother. I remember the whole thing. And I remember Pat, his wife Pat, standing behind him, just looking like she was on the verge of tears, fighting not to cry. But that's what I was getting with the pendulum, not specifics more so than just the inevitability of this. Like, it's almost like it's already a done deal. It's like almost like, why are you even asking me this question? It's going to happen. It has to happen. But I was just thinking back to Nixon, how he was presented in a very similar scenario when he was presented the option of resigning, because he was told basically he was a pariah. You will be impeached. You're going to bring a great amount of disgrace to people in your party running for re-election. You have to step off the stage.
So it looks like the articles will be drawn up by the House and then it goes to the Senate. Yeah. I think they're going to get the votes.
Yeah, my God, this will be his third impeachment. Third. I mean, it used to be it was such a rare thing that would happen. You know, it was Andrew Johnson in the 1860s, and then more than 100 years later before it was Bill Clinton. And now here's Trump on his potentially his third impeachment. I mean, my God, what Nixon was saying about the history books and the legacy, how Trump is going to be recorded.
Well, yeah. I mean, to be impeached and then to be impeached now going on a third impeachment.
Yeah. He survived the first two. This one, I don't think so. And I also, we've been getting that Trump is just worn out. He's exhausted. I even think of the remote viewing you had. You said you walked in, he was naked, but he was very vulnerable and he was very pale and very sickly looking.
Just a sick old man lying on a bed.
Yeah.
Just a fat old man who couldn't care for himself.
And we're seeing more and more, when we watch him on television, we're seeing a sick old man. We are seeing the light go out of him. We're seeing all the makeup on his hands, trying to cover up all the bruises, watching him seeing him confused. You know, the fact they're actually having to put signs outside like Oval Office and things like that, like they do for a person with Alzheimer's, so they can find their way around. What was this? MAGA Mike just closed the house again? I haven't heard that.
According to what I'm seeing here on CNN, you know, remember when we did remote views and we saw that there was this blue wave or this tidal wave of people that wanted information, and that you have Mike Johnson trying to keep the door closed and that he will not be able to keep that door closed. It's just been released that Johnson shifts strategy on Epstein file votes as GOP leaders brace for mass defections. So basically he's like, get it out quickly. Let's just get it over with. He can't stop it. So let's just kill the beast quickly. If we cannot stop the beast, we're going to have to kill the beast. I'm telling you, they're going to freaking give him a choice.
Sure.
This is bad.
Oh, it's I think this may be the biggest scandal to ever tear America apart. I mean, it's going to make Watergate look quaint by comparison.
What the hell is this that nobody wants to talk? The other thing that blows my mind is what chickens the Republicans have become. Running away from the press.
Spineless chickens.
Face the press. This is your guy. You put him in there. What you running for?
Yeah.
Come on, join us. Join the party.
You know, I was thinking the Republicans waited many years to have ultimate control of our government. And look at what has happened. Now, barely anything has been passed since they took over, other than the big, beautiful bill. I almost want to retch when I say that. Some say the big, beautiful bullshit bill. They got that through. But what they have done more so is reveal their true character. As you said, they're chickens. They're spineless. They don't give a damn about us as human beings. They don't care if people are literally starving. They don't care. They don't care millions of people are going to lose their health care. They don't care about the ripple effect of this. They seemingly want billionaires to be able to build more rocket ships and buy another yacht.
Well, I think right now, Stephanie, they're going to have a quick vote to release. It's not going to matter because it's not the policy of the FBI to release the names of their informants. So I think this is a bizarre, it's bizarre that they think that voila, we're gonna have this happen. We're going to get this release just because it's what Congress wants. Because I can't imagine that the Republicans are going to allow this to happen.
Yeah. It certainly is going to be a lot of drama. A lot of drama over the coming weeks.
Yeah. MAGA Mike just adjourned the House again until next week.
Really? Was that just announced? I didn't see that before we did the show.
It looks like he adjourned the House until next week, but
wonder what that's about.
I think that, inevitably we're looking at impeachment.
Mm-hmm.
And we're, it's just so over. I mean, what is Mike Johnson going to do to cover this up? Cover up what? It's already out there.
It's out there.
Thousands of emails. It's too late. It's too late.
Well, I got it was like a couple of weeks ago on the show. I got a hit that Mike Johnson is going to either resign or be forced out in disgrace. Utter disgrace.
I want to check out before we close. I want to check out Mike Johnson. Can we just check his cards for the future? What you see for his future?
Look at the first card. Loss for even started.
Be true to yourself. That is what I would say to Mike Johnson. Be true to yourself, Mikey. Love yourself. Express yourself. And it's like, what is that song by? You Were Born This Way, right? That song, You Were Born This Way by
Lady Gaga. Lady Gaga, yeah.
People said that they became enlightened. People that were trying to become spiritual. And this one guy wrote an article saying, I experienced enlightenment while watching Lady Gaga's halftime show. And it was just like, yeah, God made me this way. Why am I being so hard on myself? He had this enlightening moment while he was watching her perform for the Super Bowl. And it's really really is a spiritually enlightening kind of song with a great beat. But I think that there's a spiritual lesson for MAGA Mike that he has never accepted himself. And because he has not either. Yeah. I mean, he met his wife at a camp to, what's it called? To deprogram his gayness.
Well, I was just going to bring that up because I have tried to look that up online and nobody can confirm that one way or the other. But there are people who claim he went through gay conversion therapy. But that's such an outrageous thing to accuse a person.
Wait a minute, but his wife, I think, said that she gave him his corsage. She was the counselor. Okay. I gave him his corsage when he graduated.
Wow. Yeah, because I was trying to find something that confirmed that. That's interesting. But when you said
I thought it was fake, but I checked Grok, and Grok said it's not fake.
Yeah. Well, I even think to what you said about loving himself. I feel that people who commit such hateful things as what he and the, I want to say mostly the Republicans have done is just so, it's so hateful. And I've often thought you'd have to really hate your own self to inflict that kind of suffering on other people. How could you even love yourself and do that to other people and to do it to millions of people? I know that's my own opinion.
According to the Akashic Field, he's leaving Congress, that he will no longer be a politician.
I'm not surprised by that, because
He
don't
has
you
an
feel it's
opportunity outside? Is he a lawyer? I'm seeing him taking another position somewhere.
yeah.
Same thing, betraying those who trusted him. Look at this. He is trapped in his current situation, and he is throwing in the towel. This, I'm telling you guys, this has finished Mike Johnson's political career.
Oh yeah.
He doesn't have a political career after this.
Yeah, the main thing I get is massive disgrace. He can't possibly have a political or public career again.
Are you surprised that this happened? I mean, are you surprised that it's happening so quickly, that it's falling apart so quickly?
Yes and no, because we were both getting months ago. We were getting this was going to happen, but I think it's when you're watching it on a day-to-day basis, it seems a lot slower than it actually is. So there is that element of surprise that it's sped up so quickly, and we're watching it take place. We're both getting the end is near. Even that message from Richard Nixon when he said, I'm paraphrasing my own thing here, but he said something about Trump is in his final days, just as meaning the presidency, just as I was in my final days. And I know what he's going through right now. I got even that Nixon was kind of saying to us, it's coming to an end very soon, much as it was for him.
Is that the impression you got? Because that was also the impression I got from what Nixon said.
Well, that's exactly what I got from it. Because when you say final days, people will go, oh, that means you're going to die soon. No, I wasn't getting that Trump's going to die soon, but definitely the presidency is going to die. And that's what Richard Nixon was trying to say. I know what it was like. I know the paranoia, the panic, the sheer despair of those final days. And I know that's what he's going through. And it's also interesting that Nixon brought up how he feared there were going to be crowds of people actually trying to swarm the White House, trying to smash in windows. And he said they were after my head. And sometimes I wonder if Trump in his own paranoia is fearing that. It's going to be kind of like the reverse of the January 6th riots, where it's now going to be on him.
Right.
I think at least the fear is there.
Right. Do you want to read?
Well, and would you try and connect to Reagan? Would Reagan recognize how badly his decisions have impacted the American people? That's a very good question, very provocative. I can't promise anything, but I'll try. I didn't know if I could reach Nixon or not, but he came through. I will give it a try for next week. I think
Nixon is a trip. I think Nixon was a trip, because Nixon was still saying, well, I was not the worst, and I feel that he still had that and this was something that people said about Nixon. He still saw himself as the victim. And even in death all this time, there's still this aspect of his persona.
The personality is still there. Yes. Yeah, God, that's why I wanted to emphasize. This is not my opinion. I'm just like the secretary taking the dictation. That's his message he wanted to give. We can take from that. And let's see, from Debbie Brady, future shaper. Oh, I just got that Andrew had a past life as a lord over a serfdom where he took advantage of his right to be the first to spend the night with new brides. Maybe 12th century.
That's sick. Yeah, they used to do the right of the kings. What was that? The bride. There was a name for it. You got to have sex with the bride. What a sick religion. I mean, God, it's just sick.
Yeah. But
my!
During that period, medieval times, a lot of barbarism.
I know it's hard for us with everything being so terrible right now. We feel like we don't have any control of what's happening in our country. But I do feel like this will pass and we will come out of this.
I do. I do. I believe that as well. I think back to when you and I used to work together in West Hollywood, and you told me you did a reading. I think it was one of our founding fathers. It might have been George Washington. I forget who you spoke with, but they said to you, don't worry, Trump is just a bad president. You will survive this. You have survived bad presidents before, and you will continue to do so. I mean, I should let you say what it was. I don't know if you
Oh,
remember.
I agree. Yeah, it was just
Yeah.
a bad president, and that this too shall pass.
Yeah. Though I don't think our founding fathers were factoring in Donald Trump.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Oh my God. I can only imagine George Washington watching this.
Oh my goodness. Did you have fun today? Did you have a good time?
I did have a good time. Well, I love this time with you, and I love the time with all of you out there, and really appreciate all your comments, your questions.
It was a very, very busy show. We had over 651 people here live.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I tell you, Whimsy, I've been getting more emotional about all of this than I thought I would. I think maybe it's just because you and I are so empathetic. We're tapping into the consciousness of all the people right now.
We're exhausted.
We are. That card keeps
just
coming up for me. Exhaustion.
Right.
It's like we just beat over the head. And I mean, you look at Trump's presidency from day one. As soon as he was sworn in, he was assaulting us over the head with one atrocity after another, where we couldn't even humanly process it. It was so much.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for hanging with us. Chuck, tell us a little bit about what you're up to if anyone's trying to get to you reading or anything else you're up to.
Well, aside from talking with dead presidents, I mean, I had Harry Truman 2 or 3 weeks ago, Nixon. Now I'm going to try for Reagan. I can't promise anything, but maybe I should save the story for next week. My late friend Evelyn Keyes knew Ronald Reagan, and she said he was one of the dumbest men she ever knew. But anyway, I'll tell that story maybe next week. What I'm doing right now, of course, is I do readings, as you do, Whimsy, my own way, and I love doing it.
And he's a medical intuitive and licensed. If you need medical coaching assistance, you can do that.
And
a great artist.
Artwork. I can often channel messages from the subject that I'm drawing or painting. I love doing that. I can even do your pets. And of course, you want to reach me, you see my name at the bottom of the screen. It's just Dransfield Chuck, one word, @gmail.com.
Mm-hmm. And you have a TV, you have a YouTube.
Oh yeah, Chuck's Captivating Chronicles, and a little chat thing on Mondays, Chuck's Captivating Chat, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Sometimes I go on there and hang a little bit with you. All right. And if you're trying to get in for a reading with me, you can check all that information below and book me through Booksy. Okay, I guess that's all we have for you. Thank you again, everyone, for being here. Be kind to all so that all will be kind to you too. God bless. Peace out. We'll see you next time. It won't be much longer, people. It's coming to an end.
Yeah. See you next Tuesday.
See you next Tuesday. Bye. Bye, everyone.
Bye.